Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to editorial analysis for 3rd of April. And just like every day, we'll start our session with a quote usable for your journal studies. So, it is a quote by Amartya Sen, who happens to be a Nobel Prize winner in economics and also author of the famous book, The Idea of Justice. He says, economic growth without investment in human development is unsustainable and unethical. So, guys, this quotation can be used whenever we are giving a mention of sustainable developmental goals, particularly the goal number 3, 4, 5, and goal number 10. So, guys, you can use this quotation and these sustainable developmental goals for your GS paper number 2 under the topic of social justice. Let's begin with today's editorial analysis. Guys, these are the editorials that we'll be discussing from both the Hindu as well as Indian Express newspaper, which are usable for your exam. Friends, you can access the PDF of the notes that we will be discuss in the session in the link given in the description. You can join our Telegram channel to get the regular updates as well as to receive the notes of the daily editorial analysis. Now let's begin with today's discussion. Guys, this editorial has been taken from the Hindu newspaper and it talks as why safe boundaries are needed to be marked between the wildlife and the human beings. As we all know, right now the world is grappling with coronavirus. However, coronaviruses are not new. They have been since mankind since the ages. So, the coronaviruses are the same viruses which causes common cold and flu. However, they are not the matter of concern, but the present coronavirus, that is SARS-CoV-2, which is causing COVID-19, is more serious. Even in 2002, SARS was caused, which was also serious. Now, both are these coronaviruses. They happen to be more serious. And why they are serious? It is because the mutation. So, guys, coronaviruses happen to reside in wild animal as well as man. So, the ones which have natural reservoir around the man, they are not harmful, but as happened in 2002, the SARS originated originally, the reservoir was bad. Through some carrier, it reached to a wild cat that was a civet, and from the civet, it reached to the human beings where it caused a lot of problems. So, guys, at that point of time, again, it was unregulated consumption of civet which caused the SARS 2002. Now, guys, recent COVID-19, it has been identified that originally it started from bat. From bat, it was passed to pangolin, and from pangolin, it passed to the human beings. After that, there was Nipah virus, which had a lot of number of cases earlier into the Kerala. It also originated into the bat. It passed on into the pigs, and by the consumption of pig, it passed to the human beings. So, guys, the editorial begs a question that right now it is high time that the human should question the links that has been made between the wildlife and the human beings. Because of unregulated control and because of unregulated venturing into their territories, these epidemics are becoming more and more frequent. Even the other ones such as Ebola, H1N1 swine flu, they also had their origins into the wildlife. So, mutations have been there from animal to animal, but it is becoming problematic now when it is coming into the human contact, and this human contact has been caused because of number of factors. First of all, wild animal meat markets, which happen to be the cause of present COVID-19, as in Wuhan they were regulating. Moreover, due to destruction of forest and trapping of wild animals, farming of wild species had brought these viruses close to the human beings, which may lead to the pandemics even into the future. After that, guys, economic activities which are being pursued into the forest are bringing humans again close to the domestic animals, which can again lead to certain problems. Guys, moreover, it has been seen that unregulated sport of wildlife is going on, which again causes the problem of unregulated close contact between wildlife and human beings. Though export has been partially banned under the CITES, which is an multilateral treaty which stands for Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. But this treaty is partially covering that aspect because it protects only endangered plants and animals. However, the ones which are not endangered could be freely traded. Now, guys, Mother Nature preserves a wide variety of life form, flora and fauna, and some happens to be dangerous to human beings. Now, it is a duty on human beings that they should not venture out unnecessarily into that territory. Particularly, it is a lesson to the governments that always government sees these flora and fauna as an impediment to economic growth. So, these forests should not be disturbed unnecessarily, because anyhow, if the limit will be breached, then nature will evoke its own checks and balances. And as presently that this check and balance has been imposed, it has anyhow brought global economy to an abrupt end. So whatever benefits we had reaped by going into nature's territory, all that thing has been returned back. So this particular incident should serve as a warning to the governments around the world that they should limit their contact between the wildlife and to the human beings, and the unnecessary environmental clearances which are being given for the economic projects, they should be stopped, and a well distanced gap should be maintained. So guys, this was all about this particular article. Now we'll move to the next article. Guys, this editorial has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it explores the impact of new upcoming streaming websites such as Netflix, Hotstar, Woot, Amazon Prime, etc. on the cinema as well as on the socio-political content. Guys, streaming websites such as Netflix, Hotstar, Amazon Prime, they are known as over-the-top platform, and they are becoming even more popular recently after the lockdown. It is a well-known fact that characters such as Jitu Bhaiya and Sumit Vyas are gaining popularity equivalent to the characters into the television and mainstream Bollywood. So certain questions emerge here: why they are becoming popular, is a response from both the sides, and what could be the future of the cinema. So guys, when we talk about these platforms, the popularity is coming from the sides of producer first of all. Why? Because it gives certain advantages. First is the freedom of depiction. As we know that in India, the depiction or freedom of speech and expression, particularly for cinema, has not been given very much properly. Subjects such as sexuality, social social customs, political scenario, they are still considered a taboo, and often they are avoided. You might have heard that there are certain excellent cinemas. For example, the movie Gulabi Aina. This particular movie was on transsexuals, and the movie was not given an approval even for the 2 years. Still, the movie is banned in India. After that, there was a movie that was Lipstick Under My Burqa. Initially, the movie was not given permission. However, later it was approved after cuts, and the finally movie was approved for Golden Globe Awards. So such fine cinema is coming, but the restrictions have been imposed. They are not getting permission. It curtails a freedom of depiction from the end of creative producers as well as directors. Moreover, guys, when these kind of issues erupt, they are not given proper finances, because often, due to uncertainty in permissions, big producers hesitate to make movies on certain subjects. Secondly, there is an inherent restriction into cinemas, that there happens to be a window of 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Therefore, screenplay is often restricted, and many a times a proper art is not given a vent. Now, all these problems have been solved by the OTT. Therefore, producers are preferring this particular mechanism. Will understand. Guys, as we had talked, certain topics are considered as taboos and they cannot be explored. But these matters can be explored in OTT. First of all, they don't require the certification of CBFC. Now, guys, CBFC is a film certification body of India which is constituted under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. The body is entrusted to give the approvals and certificates to the movies. It has been constituted under the provision of a Cinematographic Act 1952. So basically, CBFC is the body which gives approvals, and there have often been various controversies that CBFC often asks producers and directors to make cut into movie which erodes the freedom of speech as well as expression, and many a times just on the name of social morality these things have been made. So therefore directors are particularly enraged with this particular behavior. Now with respect to OTT programs, CBFC certification are not required, and in this particular regard, in 2018 a PIL was also made in Bombay High Court which asked that censor should be made on OTT and they should also be needed to take permission from the CBFC. But guys, in 2019 government, central government has made this clear that under Cinematographic Act 1952 OTTs are not covered, so therefore they don't need to take permission. Moreover, after that a campaign was started by the citizens which wanted that OTT should also need to take the approval from CBFC. Then government asked the OTT platforms that they should impose a self censorship on themselves, otherwise government need to do that. After which these bodies, these OTTs have taken a kind of self censorship, and they have also in established a grievance redressal mechanism for consumer complaints. So still they are not censored, so therefore a wide area is there where where the expression of thought could be carried. Guys, moreover, it has been seen recently that the telecast that are streamed on these OTTs, they have huge budget, because these all OTTs are new ventures, and by the way of venture capitalist and the seed funding they are getting huge money. Moreover, as there is relatively less screening cost because you don't need to install a movie into the theater, more money can be devoted for making of the telecast. After that there is a global viewership, because there is no physical boundaries here. Therefore, due to large number of audience, in the long term a telecast can make money, so therefore freedom of a budget is coming, and viewership is even becoming more popular. So into the times to come these portals might be becoming profitable. Guys, as the selection of topic is versatile here, a large number of crowd is often attracted to these portals, due to which they are becoming even more popular and even more budget is being allocated to it. Next point, it has often been complained by the directors that they are not able to portray a character because there is a limitation of time here. But in series, as number of episodes can be made on one particular topic, you are not restricted with that particular window. If I give you example of a western telecast, that is Breaking Bad, a particular one character has evolved over 2 years, and it gives a flexibility to artist to depict his art, which is not possible many a times into the limited cinema. So therefore producers and creative artists, they are preferring this particular media even more. Guys, now a next question comes, why it is becoming more popular into the audience? Now often the cinema is attached with that grandeur. It is said that present cinema is away from the mainstream society. You can take example, when you see the movies such as the Student of the Year, their students have been shown and the normal student can't connect with that. But at the same time, when you see the serials, when you see the telecast such as Kota Factory, their students have been shown in that light where a student can connect to that particular thing. So now audience, they wanted to connect with the real socio-political context, so they are preferring these particular kind of telecast. Secondly, there is flexibility of viewing experience. You can see it on your mobile, on your tablet, on your laptop, on your TV. So due to this particular thing, viewers are more independent and they are opting for this particular kind of media. Secondly, as I told you that there is no restriction of depiction as well as budget, a high quality content is coming on line. Because of this thing, audience are being becoming even more inclined. Then there are working professionals who might not get time to go for cinema halls into the working hours as well as even on the weekends. But for those kind of people, these platforms provide adequate facility and they are becoming even more inclined. Guys, relatively these kind of medias are less expensive, because in terms of cinema you need to go to a theater, you need to do other ancillary expenses, which becomes the experience more expensive. However, it is not there in the case of these telecast. Now a question comes, that will OTT be able to take over cinema? If I can say, that will streaming be able to overtake screening? Now, this is a question which we can't answer right now. However, in near time, we don't see that OTT will be able to take Indian cinema, particularly Bollywood. It happens particularly because of a fact that Indian cinemas big ticket artists, they are not willing to work with the OTTs, and in India people have a particularly cult following against the superstars such as Salman Khan, Akshay Kumar, Rajnikant, and if they don't come to OTT, various large chunk of population will also not be coming. Moreover, even the viewership is increasing, but at the same time there are large number of people whose literacy level are not that much, and they are more comfortable going to a physical cinema hall rather than coming on the web. So guys, this was all about this particular article. Now we'll move to the next article. Friends, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it explores that why it is high time that government should enroll private sector in the treatment of COVID-19. Guys, as of today, 2500 plus cases and 70 plus deaths have been registered in India because of COVID-19, and on world stage more than 10 lakh cases have been emerged. Moreover, the last 2 days have been very tough for India because the highest spike has been seen in last 2 days. So here we could ask a question, that is India moving towards a community transmission? And if that is the case, then India needs a higher level of preparedness. As I have talked in my earlier videos, that India always tries to flatten the curve. But could it be the case that now India might not be able to flatten the curve, rather the curve will go in U shape? Guys, if you want to know this particular thing, then please refer to the editorial of 31st of March. Guys, editorial suggests as number of cases is increasing, government's public health infrastructure is not capable to handle such a rise into the cases. Moreover, government's tertiary care link is the most weakest into government machinery. Therefore, we might need to involve the private sector if we want to get a respite from this particular issue, because the severe cases of COVID-19 require hospitalization and the support of ventilators, which are very scarce into the public hospitals or the government hospitals. Moreover, various private sector companies have shown the willingness to come forward and to help in this particular regard. Therefore, at particular this time, we need a comprehensive national policy which can make provisions to involve private sector into the healthcare. Though central government has been silent on this particular respect, but various state governments such as government of Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh have already robbed various private sector hospitals on this particular front. Friends, it is a well studied fact that in India's affordability of health is always out of a question, and often due to out of pocket expenditures, health happens to be a major burden. Right now, seen the pandemic, we want a model of universal health services. Though government is willing to come forward, but it simply doesn't have the capacity, and the reason happens to be historical in this regard. If I share certain data, then we can see that public health expenditure in India is just above 1% of the GDP. It is 1.4% to be very precise. Moreover, at the same time, huge demand is fulfilled by the private sector, which contributes 4.8% of expenditure of GDP into the health terms. So this much gap is being fulfilled by the private sector. Moreover, 60% of the hospital beds are there into the private sector, and 80% of the doctors, 70% of the nurses and midwives are again involved into the private sector. So in terms of infrastructure as well as expenditure, private sector is the dominant thing, and if government is not involving private sector, then huge capacity is not being utilized, which India cannot afford at this particular point of time. Now in this particular direction, if we look towards the issues, then these issues are like this way. First of all, National Health Authority has recommended that the testing of COVID-19 should also be included in Jan Arogya Yojana. However, government is silent on this particular respect, though government has said that the treatment will be included as a part of Jan Arogya mission. Now guys, Jan Arogya Yojana is nothing but the Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Abhiyan, which government has launched Under it, government will be giving 5 lakh rupees health cover will be given to nearly 10.7 crore families if they face critical illness. So the testing should also be included as a part of this particular thing. Secondly, it has been seen into the state governments that they had created a command authority, but at the part of center, such central command authority has been missing, which should have been taken the work of supervision. Moreover, government had put a cap of 4500 rupees if people go for the testing, but it is a fact that the large chunk of people, even into the middle class, they can't afford such a testing, so it has to be made even more subsidized, guys. After that, government has allowed private sector that they can give the services for quarantine in their hotel, but amid the lockdown this thing is not possible, so government should come for a policy in this particular direction also, and at the same time the number of hotels should also be expanded. Now, though under Ayushman Bharat Abhiyan, poor will be covered, but the large chunk of middle class people, they will not be covered here, and they might be facing a large problem, because still out of pocket expenditures are a big problem in India. So what should be done in this particular regard? Editorial suggests that we can look towards the example of Spain, where they have enrobed the private sector for a limited period of time and they are taking their help. At the same time, Britain has not done this thing, due to which Britain's public health has been collapsed, but at the same time private sector hospitals are lying empty. So we need to learn from the example of Spain. Moreover, it is nothing new that government will do, because in the past also government had made subsidy payments to the hospitals. So now also government can devise a mechanism where private sector should be robbed, they will be reimbursed up in a meanwhile, and in such a way the capacity to meet the pandemic could be improved further. So guys, this was all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Guys, this editorial has been taken from the Indian Express and it explores the recently announced domicile rules for the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Guys, in 2019, Jammu and Kashmir, which was earlier protected under Article 370 of Indian Constitution, a special status was given, became a full-fledged part of India by the virtue of two legislations. First of all, it is a constitution application to J&K Order 2019, and second is J&K Reorganization Act 2019. Guys, to clarify, this one is not particularly a law, rather it is a presidential order which presidential is empowered to promulgate or to announce under Article 370 itself. The law is J&K Reorganization Act 2019. Due to this particular thing, J&K became full-fledged part of India and was divided in two parts. One became the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, which was having its own legislature, and other became the Union Territory of Ladakh, which did not had their own legislature. So guys, 370 gave up special autonomy to J&K that has been taken. Moreover, Article 35A was also there, which was giving certain privileges to the residents of J&K in matters of scholarship, employment, etc. Now it is also not there, so all the citizens are just like ordinary citizens of India. Recently, domicile laws have been announced. Now guys, domicile is actually a status of residentship that has been given to a particular citizen with respect to his state. So it gives the power to a tehsildar to announce that who happens to be a domicile into a particular region of J&K. Moreover, the government of J&K UT has also been empowered to appoint any other officer to be a competent authority into this regard. Now, guys, with respect to domicile laws, who have been announced as a new residents or domiciles. So, category number one, all the people who have resided for 15 years in Union Territory of J&K will supposed to be domicile. Second, children of the central government employees who have served there for the period of 10 years or more. It includes the officials of public sector banks, statutory bodies, central universities, research institutions, or any other people who have been appointed by central government over there. Guys, there is a third more category, that is the people who have studied there for period of 7 years and had appeared for either class 10th exam, 12th exam in an educational institution. They will also be getting the domicile status there. Now, with respect to the reservation of jobs, earlier a lot of protection was given by the virtue of article 35A, but now since it has been removed, the protection is available only for the level 4 jobs. So guys, the level 4 jobs, they could be reserved for the domiciles, that is a resident. Other jobs they cannot reserve. The level 4 jobs include junior assistant jobs, constable. These are actually the lowest category of non-gazetted jobs, so they could only be reserved, guys. Now guys, we will not be going too much deeper into the technical details because then it will not be usable for your UPSC exam. However, at this particular time a question comes that when the country is grappling with the pandemic of corona COVID-19, was it ethical or necessary that government should announce such rules, because already a tense environment is going on. So it raises a moral question on the regard of government. So guys, this was all about today's articles. If you like our video, then please do subscribe to our channel because it gives us a motivation to make more videos in future. Thank you so much.